Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another episode of the Leadership for the Now. My name is Florin and I'm so delighted to be with you today on this special edition where I bring in my friend and colleague from Maxwell Leadership Organization, Madalina 𝙘𝙪𝙧𝙞𝙤, and we're going to talk about gamification and how to drive cultural change through gamification. Welcome, Madalina.
Thank you, Florin, for this session. I'm so happy and I'm so excited to discuss about gamification in leadership and in companies.
Absolutely. And I think people already kind of got, some hints there because you have this beautiful background with a game there, but we're not going to tell anything about that yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. So tell us a little bit about, how companies and organizations and teams, use games. Like, how do you use games?
First of all, I would like to ask you, Florin, do you play games?
I do play some games, yes.
What kind of games do you play?
Well, I play Monopoly. I play card games, and sometimes I remember I played a game called Poor Dad, Rich Dad, which was about financial education from Robert Kiyosaki. So these are kind of the games I play.
Wow. Okay. So Monopoly, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, and some card games. And let me ask you something else. Did you learn anything from that, from the games you play?
Oh, absolutely. So the one about financial education, actually, I learned, how to deal with debt, when debt is actually good debt and when it's not, when it's an investment and when it's a cost. Like, for many people, buying a house, they might believe this is an investment, but if the house you live in and you don't rent it out, it's actually a cost because it doesn't put any money in your pocket. So that was an awareness that I got from playing that game.
So exactly the point that I want to get now is that people like to play games. And why do we like to play games? Because it's relaxing, because people get engaged in the game. They want to win if some people have this competition drive. And also during the games, we learn something. And I've found out long time ago that what is the best approach for people to learn something new? By experiencing it. So that is one, let's say, a better approach to learn something new is to experience it, not for somebody to train you about it or to say something about it, not you to read in a book, but you to actually put hands on it or to try to experience it by yourself. And in this situation, if we play games, we actually learn something from the games, like Monopoly, like Rich Dad and Poor Dad. We learn about financial stuff, how to invest money in something. From, let's say, for example, Game of Thrones or Catan, if somebody heard about it, this is actually a strategy game. So you learn strategy, how to solve an issue, how to manage the resources. And we can also think about Mafia. Mafia is another game where you actually learn about psychologically. So you can identify who is lying, who is telling the truth. So you're looking at people, you observe stuff, you try to find out clues to find out which is the murderer and which is not the murderer. And by doing that, we actually learn stuff, and that's how people, when they are kids, learn to develop themselves. And if we think about gamification, and if we think about games, we can actually use the games to learn something in our own businesses or in our own companies. And I want to ask you, do you think there is a game to learn leadership?
Well, that's an easy question, right? If I cannot read the screen, that will be a tough question. But that's an easy question. But before we actually get to that, I think you're making a great point about experiencing, right? So one of the ways we learn through games and how can we implement cultural change is going through a game experience and experience the new culture, right? And reinforcing in the game the kind of behavior that we want to see in our people, right? And when you say experiencing something and touching something and being, around the table with your team helps you really learn it, you're spot on. If you think about an example that came to mind when you were sharing, is when you think about the security measures. So first of all, if you actually board a plane, right, they kind of show you how to put on your oxygen mask or the seat belt and everything, right? But if you ever
Yes.
been on a cruise ship, right? I took once a cruise ship from Miami and to the Bahamas, and they actually had us, before the cruise ship left the harbor, they had us really practice the evacuation. So wherever you were, they had these signals that, the sound signals that you have to recognize that this is an emergency situation. And it's not like they're just telling you what you should be doing. They don't leave the port until everyone gets out of their cabins, get out of the restaurant or the casino, wherever they were, and gets to one of these assembly stations, and then puts on a vest,
Obviously,
yeah, a jacket, a life safe jacket, and I say, wow, why do they do that? And that's precisely why, because we remember very little from what we have been told, but we remember a
yes,
lot from what we experience. So
yes.
I guess there is a leadership game.
Yeah, that was an ironic question, of course, because similar to Monopoly and the games we already said about, there is one game from Maxwell Leadership. People in Maxwell Leadership created this leadership game to put together all the basic principles of leadership. So people, instead of learning about leadership from trainings or from books, they actually experience leadership with powerful questions, and how they can actually manage with their own teams, with their colleagues, with their companies. So they have these questions that they need to answer, for them to actually learn about and develop themselves as leaders. So yes, there is one leadership game,
So
and I
what
think
would
there are more other games. I'm not sure, but this is what I want to present today for you.
Absolutely. So tell us, if I would be a leader and I would looking at, creating one of these experience with my team, like why should I use the leadership game?
First of all, because like we already stated, people learn more when they experience and not when they have a training. So if you're thinking about to develop people in your team to become leaders, I would suggest not to start with with the leadership training directly. I would start with try to put them in situations where they might be leaders and they need to face some, yeah, a specific context. What would you do if you're a leader in this situation? What would you do in that situation? So just by thinking about, if you want to develop people in your team as on the leadership skills, think about this kind of experience for them. Second of all, during a leadership game, that the session that I have and I facilitate is a good opportunity for you as the leader to observe your team members.
Mm, mhm.
Check your teams. And let's imagine that you don't know who exactly, maybe you're new to the team, you're new as a leader for the team, and you don't know everybody yet that very well. But you need to, in a normal situation, you need to have a one-on-one with each member of the team. But what if you have 400 people in the team? How much time do you need to spend with each other, with each member of the team? It will take you very, very long. And you still want to do something very quickly, at least to start knowing your team better. Of course, you need, as a leader, you need to have to spend time one on one with every team member. But for the starting point, try to use this situation as a team building activity. This leadership game can be seen as a team building activity because in 1 hour and a half, for example, which can be one session of the leadership game, you can see and you can observe. Of course, I will help you to see, to
Ah,
observe your team. Maybe you don't see it, but I'm there to facilitate and also to observe the team. You might see who is a leader, who has leadership abilities in your team, who is a good leader, who is a good follower. Or what kind of personalities does the people in your team have? do the people in your team have? If this is an introvert person, if that is an extrovert person, is this person who likes to follow the rules, or this other person is playing tricks on somebody during the game? So
Right.
you can actually observe the team members in a very, very fast way, and you can drag some conclusions on that. But of course, I will help the leader during the game and after the game, and to point exactly what I observe as a facilitator, somebody from outside the team.
And I think what's beautiful about that is that whenever I use the game was more because when if I would come in or you would come in as a consultant, right, or as an outside advisor, and we would have to help a team leader to assist their team. Many times when people know that someone is watching, they will watch their behavior. They will not open up, right? They will put their guards up. They will put their masks on. But when you play a game, they just get
Yeah.
absorbed in the game, and they forget about thinking and being careful, and they really are themselves. And that's
Yes.
what is beautiful about this tool, and using games in driving cultural change, is because you can create that kind of open environment where people feel comfortable in sharing, because at the end of the day it's just a game, right?
It's
it,
just a
it,
game.
it's,
Yes.
it's not, even though we act as a sounding board for the leader, and then the leader will observe things, and then the team will also learn things. That's a byproduct, but at the end of the day we're actually helping to create that environment that otherwise it wouldn't happen if there would not be a game.
Yes, that's important. An important remark, because I'm thinking about myself when I had the interviews, job interviews. Of course, I'm putting a mask. Come on, let's be honest. Everybody's putting a mask when they are interviewed by somebody, especially if they want that job. But when we play game, and I also notice, not only for me but also for other people, when we play game, we actually get very very into the game, and we don't put the masks that much. Of course, we might have the mask a little bit, but it's not that evidence, it's not that much of the mask on your face. So it's important for you to remember, for people who want to play this game with their teams, they need to remember that people are relaxed, that people have they need to open, well, not they need, they actually open more to this game, because it's a game, they don't take it that seriously. And another point, that it's very important for the participants, not only for the leader of the group, and this is as of very often feedback from people, they connect more with people, with the other
Mm.
colleagues. It's not only the the game is all about powerful questions.
Can you
And
share
I
us a
want
little
to
bit
share
more
you.
about Can you share us a little bit more about how the game plays? Like, can you also play this virtually and also in person?
Yes, we can. We have an online platform, and anybody who wants to join can join. And it can be also played by people who are not in the same team. I also play with my friends, with some other coaches, some other trainers, just for them to analyze their own businesses. So we can play online, and people from all around the world can join. And in some situations, because I'm from Romania and I like to play these games with companies in Romania, I just travel to the office and I play the game face to face with them. It's, of course, it's a better experience, because they put their hands on the cards. It's not virtually,
Yeah.
so it's a better approach. But yes, we can play it virtually and physically.
As you were sharing, I think I might have a video about that. So let me just see if I can somehow play that for us here, so people get a better picture of what it is. So let me try this, see
Yeah,
what happens. Right? Let's
that
see what
sounds great.
happens if it works.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep.
Gather around the table, roll the die, challenge yourself and your team to a life-changing experience as you play the John Maxwell Team Leadership Game. a game designed to lower the barriers to honest evaluation of leadership within your company.
Playing the leadership game is probably one of the fastest ways to break down barriers between people on any kind of team.
When I first heard that we were playing a leadership board game, I really had no idea what to expect.
The game itself makes you very comfortable about being open.
When I heard that we were going to be doing a leadership game, I was a little skeptical, but the feedback and just the traction in such a short amount of time has been amazing.
I really feel that people learn best when they're having fun.
It was so engaging, just like an actual board game, except the benefit was actual real-time interaction with people that you care about.
It was pretty incredible to see how just sharing our answers to what seemed like simple questions could really bring up things that many of us had maybe never thought about or never even said, perhaps.
I got to really start to identify some of the rising stars on my team that I felt have been really ignored.
They were engaged. They did not even check their cell phones.
And the way they answered some of the questions, I thought, wow, I need to start sewing into their life a little bit more and promoting them.
Our table is crying, we're laughing, we're sharing with each other.
This connects people and allows them to communicate in a way that they just don't do without sitting down around a table in this game setting.
If you're considering playing a leadership game at your company, it's a must.
We have never done anything like this.
You have to have it for your company. It's going to help you figure out your employees. It's going to help you figure out yourself and make the right decisions in your business.
Raise your collective potential. The John Maxwell Team Leadership Game. Blow the lid off.
Wow, that worked. Isn't
I
that
just
good?
love this video.
Yeah, I'm sold, right? So if someone would like to experience the game, is there a way for people to experience the game, like just to play it?
Yes, I actually scheduled an online demo session of leadership game, which is in English, on 26th of April. So if anybody is interested in playing the game first, and if it's good for them to experience with their own teams, we can discuss afterwards. So if anybody hearing us now, looking at us now, if they want to play the game or save a spot at the table, because we have only seven spots available, and actually some people already booked. So I think we have less than 7. That would be a good opportunity for them to just send me an email, and maybe you can put the LinkedIn link or the email link for them to just send me an email. Hey, I want to be part of the leadership game on 26.
Absolutely,
That would be lovely for them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for offering this to our viewers. So it's on the 26th, right?
Yes, 26th. Yes.
What time
at
is it?
6 p.m. CET time.
Yeah, so
Central
Central European time. Yeah,
it's Central European time. Yes, and it's 1 hour. So I offer you 1 hour of this game for you to actually think about you. Even though if you have a business or not, if you are a leader or not, if you just want to experience this game, it can be for you also. And you can think about, if you don't know exactly how the game works, because you already saw the video, but maybe you don't know the questions, I can share with you three sample questions, if it's okay.
Yeah, so what kind of questions would be on those cards? Because I think that was something that people also wonder, like, what we would discuss. Would we go deep enough that then, I might not feel comfortable in sharing that, but just give us some hints. So what would be some questions that if we would play a game right now, ask me something, throw some questions at me.
I actually there are many popular cards from the game that people actually love to play, and I can remind you a few of them, so we can have a debate on. If you want the thing to be done right, you need to do it yourself. And this is a debate card, which means that everybody at the table needs to separate in 2 parts, pro or con, and they need to bring arguments of if they agree or they don't agree with this statement. So
what's the statement again?
the statement is, if you want something to be done right, you need to do it yourself.
That's interesting.
And let me ask you one question related to this. What do you think is the link between this question, the debate card, and leadership? So if you want something to be done right, you need to do it yourself. What do you think is the link between this and leadership?
I think it actually ties into how comfortable are people to delegate, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you can identify who in your team are willing to delegate and who are not. And of course, that would be a good opportunity for people in your team to understand what is the most important benefit of delegation. Because some people will say, no, I don't have time to delegate. I would try to do it myself because it will be less time for me to do this. I don't want to talk with somebody. And it will take me a longer time to explain and then to check with them if they did it right. And it's so not what I want to do. And because of this question, because of this card, we can actually discuss on delegation. What is actually the benefit for you if you delegate?
Wow.
And the main benefit that usually, because I'm a leadership facilitator, is you actually multiply yourself. The main benefit, you are multiplying yourself, so you can be at the same time in multiple places. Why? Because you took one time maybe to discuss with a colleague, to teach them how to do something, and at the same time you can do your job and they can do what you should have done.
Wow.
And this is one benefit of that, and people actually didn't know about that. They think that they are losing time, but they gain time if they delegate.
And I
So
think the
that is
beauty,
one question, one card that is very popular in this.
yeah, and what is beautiful about that card and the way the game plays is that instead of you as a facilitator or maybe the manager or the leader of that team telling their team that it's good to delegate, right? Take time to delegate. Instead of us saying that, or instead of the leader saying that, it comes out on a card. And the beautiful thing is that they read the cards, right? So it's not even us or the leader who does that. So that way we're giving them the stage, but it comes into the game, and they're much more willing to actually open up their minds to something that comes into the game, and it creates that kind of experience rather than just reading a statement or reading a quote or reading an email or the leader just saying that. So I think that's because it's experiential.
Yeah. And you know
So give
what?
us another card.
This is something. One more thing. This is something from psychology, and people don't know. People are more willing to do something if they came up with that idea. So if people buy into the delegation, they will actually be willing to do that instead
Absolutely.
of the leader is saying to me, "Okay, I need to delegate."
I need to stop you. Sorry,
Yeah.
I need to stop you. Because there's something so good. There's a quote so good. It says, people do not hate change. They hate being changed.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Powerful one. So when we use a game in changing the culture, is actually, as you said, they come up with the idea. And
Yes.
all of a sudden it's their idea. So you don't even have to sell it to them.
Yes. Yeah, that's the big difference. Instead of trying to put a change in somebody, just try to make them buy into that idea first, and then they will be the promoters of the change. Right, so that is a big important step for leaders and also for directors of companies. Yeah. Another card that I would like to share with you today. This is more related to the leaders of the team, but of course the members of the team can also answer, because that way the leaders will find out what are the opinions of the members. So this card is, am I transparent enough with my team members for them to follow my vision? Or do I keep a wall hiding my weaknesses that leads to distrust? So, am I transparent enough for them to trust me, or am I just putting a wall in front of me so I can hide my weaknesses? And here is the important question of this card. How can I improve on this? It's not like how can I tear down the wall? How can I make people trust me more? No. How can I be more transparent with my team members? How can I improve on that?
And who could say that they have nothing to improve?
Yeah.
No one, right?
Yes, exactly. And this card is actually, it's very interesting when I play this card with the team members, because they are actually honest. They are actually honest, even if the leader is on the team or not, is playing the game or not, because sometimes the leader is not playing the game. They are actually honest. No, I don't feel I can trust everybody. I don't feel I can take chances or risks in the team. So people are very transparent and they are very honest during the game, and that's a very big red flag for the leader to understand. And afterwards, after the game, if I observe this during the game, I'm having a talk with the leader of that team, and I give him or her some proposals how to improve on that one, because it's important for them to be transparent and for people to trust them. If they don't trust the leader, you know
Absolutely.
what happens, right? There's a
So,
problem.
yeah, what I'm thinking now, because this is a really important point. Think about trying to implement change in a team that doesn't trust you, right? Thinking about
Yes.
that, thinking about how to implement change through gamification is like you play the game or you bring an experience to the team to gauge, where is my team, is how open is my team to change, because I know there are also cards around that. How open is my team to change? Do you think that on our team are we empowered to make decisions at our level, right? And all these questions will bring to the surface all the things we need to know about implementing change. When we look at how we can implement change, we know there are different positions that people can take. And I'm not going into that because we probably touch in the past and we'll probably touch in the future. But we know that people are either pioneer, they are influencers, they are champions, they are obstructors, or they are hesitators, right?
Yeah.
So with the game, you would know who are the pioneers, the pro to change on your team, and who are maybe the obstructors, or maybe someone that are hesitating. They are not sure if this new change, new way of doing things, it is going to work for us. What if it's not going to work? So they're kind of hesitated. They are not pro, but they are not against. They're kind of just wait to see which way was going to win. Is going to the old way is going to stay, or the new way is going to win. So the game will help you gauge where each of your team members are. So I'm so excited that you brought this opportunity to us. So everyone who watches and wants to join a session, so we just share Madalina's detail in the comments here. You can just WhatsApp her, email her, or just message her on LinkedIn. Make sure you save a seat, because you're gonna love the game. You're gonna love the game. It's gonna be an experience that you're gonna want to bring home to your team.
Yes, and you will find out stuff about you also, not only about the other people playing on the game, but also about you. And you can know how to improve, how to develop yourself. So I'm so excited that I could share this with you and with everybody listening to us. And thank you, Florin, for giving me this opportunity to share about leadership game and how can we drive change, cultural change with games in company.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all this with us. And now people know a little bit better why you have that background, and they will be able to connect, the dots. But thank you for taking the time today. And thank you everyone watching. We're going to be back next week with another episode. I'm going to bring Madalina again, but we're going to discuss about how to create an employee experience. So many times we're looking at creating customer experience. We have teams working with customer experience. We invest money in that. We invest resources, but we don't really look a lot in creating an employee experience. So one of those ways would be games and experiences. But what else can leaders do to actually create an experience for their employees? And I'm so excited about that.
I cannot wait.
Thank you for joining us, Madalina, and thank you for watching, everyone. I look forward to see you next Wednesday on this episode. and we're going to share some resources with you on the Monday slot. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.